Hi, I'm Marilyn Coles-Haley, Executive Director with the Home from the Sea Foundation in Elliston. We operate the Sealers Interpretation Centre and Memorial Site. Elliston is located in Newfoundland, Canada. We're on the east coast, right at the eastern tip, next to Bonavista. Vista. Our Sealing Information Center opened in 2014, so it's 10 years now that we have our 10th anniversary this year. And we focus very much on the human aspect of the sealing industry and what it has meant to people, to families, to communities for years, and how it helps sustain families. The industry, very significant and important, but was also very, very dangerous. So many men and boys that went to the ice lost their lives as a result, and left families behind with mothers and children. The industry was very, very important because the sealers that went to the hunt, they were fishermen. And when they fished, the only cash they received, they didn't receive cash, it was a barter system. So they would have a note with the local merchant, and everything had to be purchased from that merchant. But with the sealing industry, gave them the opportunity to go out and actually get cash, so they could go to anywhere else that they needed supplies or whatever from. It wasn't reliant just on the one merchant. So that was very important. Also with the merchants, by the time the spring came around and all your supplies were basically low, the vegetables in the root cellars were very, very low. All your vegetables, your berries, everything was getting very low. And in Newfoundland in those years, long ago, it was known as the long, hungry month of March. So it was the sealing industry, when they came down in the spring of the year, that enabled people to provide sustenance for their families, protein. They would go out and get a seal for the family. But also it was a time then that they could go to the hunt and get cash. So they went knowing all of the dangers that they would face, but the significance and importance of going out to the hunt could never be understated. That was what got them through until the fishing season started again. So we tell that story, but we also focus on the 1914 sealing disaster in Newfoundland, when 77 men were left out in a blizzard, a raging storm, for over 2 days. And 77 of those men perished. There were 132. 77 perished. Others were disabled for life. So we very much tell that story. We have a memorial site of a father and son. It's a father and son from Elliston, Reuben, and his son Albert John. Albert John was just 16. Reuben, the father, had tragedy before that. He went to the hunt just a few years prior, and his boat that he was on sunk, and he managed to get to shore on the ice. It was his son, when he became 16, wanted to go. Reuben had lost his nerve and had not gone out since that incident. The son was adamant that he wanted to go to the hunt. He wanted to go out to get some money, buy a nice dress for his mother, and he kept it up so much that the father decided he would go with them to protect him. They both got caught in the blizzard, and they both froze to death in a frozen embrace, with the father bringing the son to him and protecting him. And that's what our memorial down there, the statue, is our father and son, representative of all those that lost their lives in the hunt. And many that lost their lives were young boys, 16 years old, 17 years old. So we tell that part of the story that people don't get to hear. And many people that come here say, you know, it's the first time we got that particular perspective, and it has changed our perspective. So that is our emphasis, but during that time we also tell the story of the sealing industry, and we do it through beautiful original artwork. We have an art gallery, through our exhibits, through multimedia. We have actual footage of the hunt from years ago that people can view. So we bring it all together through many mediums, and with that I think we have changed the perspective of many people of the hunt and what it has meant to particularly Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. Well, this is what a sealer would normally wear when he went to the hunt. So this is exactly what a sealer that was cut out on the ice would have. He would have just a hat on his head. Most of his clothing would have been handmade, with the wool mitts and jacket and pants. And the men that were cut out in the storm this is what they would have on.
And this clothing would be enough to keep them warm?
It would be warm because it is like wool clothing, but not warm enough to be outside in a blizzard. Like there's no hoods, there's no, you know, so it would keep them somewhat warm. It wasn't water repellent. Many of them fell in the ice as they were jumping from ice pan to ice pan, so they would fall in and then they would be pulled out by the other men that were there, and they would have to carry on, and there was nothing to protect them, nothing from the wind or the water.
When people come here, what should they know?
I think they need to come with an open mind. I think, you know, this story is one that is a huge part of our culture. So people visiting our island that are interested to know why it is like it is, why the people are like what they are like. I think they need to come and experience all aspects of our culture, and I think this is such a significant piece, and it shows the determination and, you know, hardship that people went through. And I think this probably shows it more than most things because it's actual images of all that went on. It tells the story. It gives you actual footage, and the artwork is just phenomenal.
This industry, is it still alive here in Elliston?
Not here in Elliston. There are still boats that go out to the hunt from St. John's mostly, from probably one or two from other communities as well. But it's the quota now is very, very small, and even that is not caught because there's not enough demand for it anymore. So, you know, it's now the heaviest, one of the most regulated industries you could ever be involved in, but it has not rebounded from all of the negative media that has been around the hunt for years. I would like for you now to come out to our Elliott Gallery. This is our main exhibit area, and this is where all of our archives and a lot of our original artwork and our actual film there is located. But also we have out here, we have a nice boutique here with all, and our boutique has all local Newfoundland crafts. So everything here is by Newfoundland producers and artists. And then we go here to our Elliott Gallery. And here we have 3 beautiful paintings done by a young Newfoundland artist, John McDonald. And John didn't know this story actually. People that came back from the hunt, it was such the disaster. It was such a terrible experience that they couldn't speak about it. It was just too emotional. So if John and them asked it was his great-grandfather and great-uncle that were at the hunt, asked about anything about it, all he would say is, "You don't know cold." When he was a young artist in residence at the Rooms in St. John's, he actually, the gentleman there had a transcript of the interview with his great-grandfather, and he read that, and this is where these paintings came from, to tell the story of his great-grandfather and great-uncle out in the storm for all that period of time, and how a gentleman had died, and his brother wanted him to take the hat, and he wouldn't do that because it was disrespectful. So they walked on through the night, and then it was his brother that had the hat that actually fell down and perished. And then his great-grandfather took that hat because he knew his brother would really want him to have it. So it's through these stories, through artwork and different forms of multimedia, that we tell the story. And I think if people were to come, we get phenomenal feedback. They would certainly enjoy the visit to the center, and it would be a truly learning experience. We are open for the season from May to October, but we can come if anybody wants to come. There is a phone number that you can call, and we can arrange to come and for them to see the center in the off season as well.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hello everyone, we're out here in beautiful Elliston, Newfoundland. It's a beautiful day. It was raining earlier, but we're all good now. Here we are at the Sealers Memorial Site, those who died in the Newfoundland sealing disaster of 1914. The story of that is that in 1914, during the seal hunt, the crew of the SS Newfoundland was sent over to board onto the SS Stefano. And the captain of the SS Newfoundland, he believed that the captain of the Stefano would keep them aboard overnight. But the captain of the Stefano actually sent the crew back over. And a blizzard came, the weather worsened, and it turned out that the crew was left stranded on the ice. And 77 men perished that day, men and boys. And in memory of that, we have here this statue here of Albert and Reuben Crew. This boy was 16 years old, and they froze to death in this embrace here. And this is a symbol of all the lives that were lost in the sealing industry due to negligence and greed, because the disaster actually wouldn't have happened if not for the merchants took the wireless equipment out of the SS Newfoundland 1 year prior. They were saying that it didn't get a good return on the money, so that's what happened there. These are the names of those who died in the disaster. This is from the SS Southern Cross. Because simultaneously on that sealing expedition there was another boat out, it was the SS Southern Cross, and it's not quite known what happened to the Southern Cross. It never made it back to shore, and the boat was never found. But in total, in these two disasters, there were over 200 lives lost. These are those from the SS Newfoundland here.
Are there any descendants around?
Yes, absolutely. I'm actually friends with the great-grandson of the Crews, the Albert Crew, Reuben Crew. Still people alive today who heard stories in their families of people who were out sealing, and it's still, they don't forget, the feelings are still there. And
what's it like for you to live and work here?
Well, I love working here. I love living here. It's a beautiful province. You're really with nature. I like the weather. I like the landscapes. I like the history. I like the people. It's a strong and hardy people. The climate is harsh, but you know, it makes us appreciate the good times and the good days. You get a couple of months out of the year, it's a good time, and so you just soak it up while you can, and it's a good way to live. Yeah.